And we're live to Coach's Corner. Welcome, guys. Coach's Corner, my favorite part of the stream. I've got some energy. I've got a good sort of Coach's Corner planned for you guys. But welcome those of you that are here and soon to be here. And Darylex, welcome, resub, much appreciated. We have our disgusting ass coffee. Sparty, are you going to go over keybinds on your Coach's Corner tonight for me? My broadcast says, how do I learn my class? How do I keybind? Please help. So, yes, I will go over keybinds today. And your Terabad keybinds, yes. I will go over them. Yes, we're going to go over that kind of stuff today. Yeah, I know, Siri, I know. It's pretty funny, though, that it happened to us. I was just talking about Drias. I told Siri.
I didn't do anything wrong. Stupid America.
Stupid America. No, that's pretty funny. We got one of those. I don't know how much I should share, but
No.
I guess I shouldn't share anything. Never mind. I didn't get anything. Forget it. Forget it. Sparty, do I know a guy named Magicilla? He was a mage that applied to us. Did he raid with us? Yeah, he raided with us, but he was an applicant here, not a full member. Anyway, this ass coffee is ass coffee. It's like the bottom of the coffee pot from yesterday. I didn't want to make any more. I don't like to waste, you know. I appreciate every cent that I make, so I don't let things go to waste. Use a VPN in the future. Yeah, like she knows how to use a VPN. And Decelerator. Alright, so there's a couple things I'll be doing today. I'm going to pretend I'm learning a new class. I sort of, will be. The kind of things that I would go through, let's say, to learn a Warlock or completely new class, where I would get my information, how do I know it's, the right information, and sort of going from there, the steps you would take. I think maybe on next week's segment, I'm going to go into heroic strats and how you really research heroic strats. Like, I'll go through our regular stuff, too. I'm sure people are going to ask about recruitment, how do I get into a guild, am I ready for heroic rating? That's the kind of stuff that can be, filler at the end of our program today, but yes, it'll be how do I learn my class, how do I play, it'll be keybinds, what are good keybinds, how to use keybinds, movement, effective movement, and we'll go from there. So, yes, let me put on my music again, a bit quieter here, back to soundtracks. Sparty, please show me how to get the same UI like yours and your UI. You can just download it, Crowbow. Just download it. I mean, my UI settings, right there. Download them, follow the instructions, and yeah, just race change. Who's Brittany? Do I know? Not Brittany? I'm not sure who this is, but I'm gonna wave back. Hello, Brittany. Hello, we're waving back to you. When playing Warcraft, you should keybind quit to every key, then face. No, that's not it. You just keybind everything to Alt F4. Did he not get a spot? I can't remember what reason, whether he left on his own or we ended his trial, but I can't remember. You'd have to talk to one of our recruitment officers, like Aloria or Oath. They're both two of our officers. You can talk to them, and they might be able to help you out and go through our archive. Okay. Yeah, no problem. No problem. Why isn't my music working? I can't hear shit. Oh, there we go. Now it's working. What is the best pet for DPS? Maybe we should go over what is the best hunter pet a little bit later on today. No, it's too loud. So, I'm going to start off with something like Retribution Spec. Maybe I should go start with the keybinds first. Damn it, fucking Novos. Goddamn Novos. You're looking pretty ugly yourself. Well, hideous. I don't know what to say with this. You have a monocle. You have, like, rags. A Super Saiyan douchebag haircut with a monocle. And a rusty sword. Like, I don't know what to say about you. You're looking fine, too. You should have the XCOM. Yeah, so there's all kinds of keybinds. I guess we'll cover keybinds too. We'll cover it all at once here. So, retribution spec is what I'll be doing. Turn down yourself. Okay, there. So retribution spec is what I'm doing. I've already got it sort of started. I mean, learning the talents, obviously, learning talents-ish. Am I doing the right ones? I don't know. I don't know if I'm running the right talents. I've got my gear sort of set up right now as well. And of course it is, I don't put on gear unless it looks pretty. We look pretty. Very pretty. So, that's my ret set right here. And it's a mix of gear. It's a mix of, you know, what is 509? Heroic tier 14. It's a mix of, you know, heroic tier 16, tier 15 stuff. You know, legendary cloak, 509. So it's a mix of everything. I've got an unenchanted, ungemmed sword here, and some decent trinkets and that kind of stuff. So we'll go over his tools. Stop squirting me. I swear to God. These people are ridiculous. Ridiculous. I can't move the pit lord far enough away. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I've been trouble using a 7-year-old Mac. I'm thinking of buying a nice gaming PC. Is this a good bet to improving my work performance? Currently I'm at 2 FPS. I don't know how you would play at 2 FPS. It would be very difficult. I play like at 6 or 7, and that's doable for me. You know, it's doable. It's ineffective. How well you do does really correlate to your FPS or your frames per second, or, you know, how smooth the game is for you. Me with streaming, it's a little bit, you know, it's much lower. It's down to friggin' 20, so I need to change around some settings to make it a little bit easier for me. Should you get your computer? Yeah, you could, but you don't need something top of the line. I don't like people spending, well, you can do whatever you want if you have money, but there's no point in getting, you know, the top of the line computer when the performance, the price to performance ratio is just not there. Do I sell them? No, I don't. I know. Don't grab it. Okay. So I want to learn ret spec. Here is my UI. Where would I go from here? Well, I sort of don't know what abilities to use. You know, I don't know what I need to be, you know, hitting. Oh, I guess I gotta... I'm pretty sure it's Seal of Truth, so I'm a bit of a noob here when it comes to Red Paladins, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are really good, you know, Blue Talk, Dubsteps, even Whammo are pretty good Red Paladins. So, like, I don't know what I should be doing besides sort of auto-attacking. And I guess with auto-attacking, even with a cloak, I'm doing 80,000 DPS. 50,000. See, this is just me attacking like this. That's just... I'm not hitting any buttons right now. I'm not doing anything. I'm doing 80,000 DPS with just my cloak. That's it. So I think hitting some buttons might help me out here. So you can see my DPS down below. Yeah, my cloak did proc twice there. Yeah. So we need to know what to do. You know, I don't know if I'm gemmed correctly or reforged correctly or whatever. So I need to find that out. Well, where am I going to find that out? My chat thing here. There. Let's find it out. Let's go to my favorite website. This is my favorite website in the game. Hopefully you guys can guess what it is. It is this one. One sec. Oops. This one right here. It has a great motto. Stay epic, right? It said somewhere here, stay epic. It should be, you know, stay stupid. I'm pretty sure stay stupid is the correct one. So we're going to use Noxic for Retribution. I'm going to find out what I need to know using Noxic here.
I thought you weren't supposed to.
Shh! Stop ruining the show.
Sorry.
So, we're going to go under Noxic. Given that I am, you know, a Ret Paladin, right? I am Ret. Stop throwing shit at me. Okay. PvE guides. Yeah, I'm on PvE, so I want to raid as a Ret Paladin. So I'm going to scroll down here to Retribution. Perfect. Okay. How does DPS do compared to similar specs? Well, I guess Retribution doesn't do that well compared to Frost Two-Handers or Arms Warriors. Let's view some full DPS rankings here. Oh. Well, look at that. I mean, Ret Paladins can't be that good compared to Noxic. These guys are at 100. These guys are like 98. Even Frost friggin' mages are doing more DPS than a Retribution. Even Marksmanship Hunters are doing more than a Retribution. Why did I even roll a Paladin? And this is what, you know, where you would just quit randomly or whatever. Welcome, Severe, thank you for supporting us. Much appreciated. Are you hearing random feedback? I hope not. I don't think it's me. You probably... What feedback? What are you talking about? What? I don't think there's any feedback. What you're probably hearing is the washer dry running or the exhaust fan. That's probably it. So yeah. So this is at 522, right? You're absolutely right here with your 522 gear. Let's go up to, you know, 553 gear. Oh. Well, I guess Retributions are even worse. Shit. You know, how much damage should I be doing? Should I be doing 270,000 DPS with, as a Red Paladin? Okay, well, I guess Windwalkers as one-handers are friggin' amazing. Maybe invest in slot gear. Arcane Mages are still, like, Frost Mages are better than me. Marksmanship Hunters are better than Retribution Paladins. Again, whatever the gear level, why did I even roll up a Red Paladin? You know, this is so stupid. So dumb. Well, this is why I tell you guys not to roll the best class, because whatever is best will always get nerfed. I always suggest you guys to play whatever you enjoy. You know, if you like being a fucking glass cannon mage like Seer and just carpal tunneling your way through Diablo, then you do that. You do that. I mean, if you like kiting stuff or you like pets, either do pet battles or roll a hunter, right? So, I know I'm being a little facetious here or sarcastic with you guys. But this is how, like, a real person, you know, one of you or one of your friends would go through the information. Okay, I just rolled Red Paladin, where should I go? Everybody in trade chat said Noxic, so I'm going to go to Noxic. And I know how to use the website, so I'm sort of going through this. Realistic DPS rankings. Still, marksmanship, like, these numbers are a little weird to me. Yeah, even here. So, let's go back to PvE guides for Red Paladins. Where's PvE guide, Red Paladin? So, how do I know what I know? Okay, let's look at stat priority. So, what stat priority should I have? So, it says strength. Okay, strength overall. Okay. Melee hit to 7.5%, expertise 7.5. Well, I mean, I've done some rating. I know why. And here it does explain to you, the hit cap will eliminate a chance for any special ability to miss against the boss. And missing is really, really important. You don't want to miss your special abilities. Let's say I was not a noob for a second, and when you have that, your fully charged palm pyro to the face, you don't want to miss it. Even having a small chance to miss it may lose a lot of DPS. There. So expertise, same thing here. It tells you why. I mean, this is the decent thing about Nox. It actually gives you some very, very, very basic information. To be hit cap as well as expertise capped. Why these numbers? Well, this rating will eliminate your chance to be dodged from behind. You can't get parried from behind. Parry only attacks the front, or only affects the front attacks, and dodges affect either front or back. But you, as a melee, always attack from the back. I mean, almost always. And so this is me attacking from the front. This is me attacking from the back. Always going from the back. Always. There. It spins around. Perfect. So, I know I need to be hit and expertise capped, then go to haste, mastery, and crit. Okay. Well, why? Why do I go haste, mastery, and crit? Why don't I have, like, more crit? Like, if I have more crit, won't I do more damage? Bigger numbers. Bigger numbers are awesome because, that makes your EP higher. So, I want big numbers, like big crits. There, that's a big crit. Sort of. That's maybe a big crit. Oh, that was a huge crit. So, why don't I crit more often? Well, crits are unreliable. Crits, it's based off, your crit chance here. Not spell, sorry, melee. My crit chance is 13%. Still pretty low. If I had 50% crit, well, there's a chance that I could never crit all fight. Whereas you want more consistent damage going into an encounter. You don't want something that's super, super random. Okay. So let's set stat priority here. And, okay, fine, we'll use Noxic. So I'm going to look under Noxic, or sorry, under my gear. What is my hit chance? Okay, my hit chance is actually a little low. So they said 7.5%. Hit chance and expertise 8.5. So I'm a little high for hit, little low for little high for expertise, little low for hit. I'm 2.5% off, as you can see here. So when you scroll over your hit chance, it shows, well, I have a chance to miss. And let's say I've got 1,000,000 damage coming to your face. I have a, what is it? 2.5% chance to miss. Seems a little low, but when you go over the course of a fight and you're doing, you know, a bunch of these 1,000,000 damage attacks, it does end up being quite a bit of damage potentially missed. It's not worth it. So most people really advocate being hit capped. You really, really should be hit capped. Okay. So let's go through reforging. What should I reforge? Okay, so same thing. Check for melee and hit cap. You should reforge the weakest stat. Okay, my friend, and optimize secondary stats. Okay, well, fine. How do I reforge stuff? Are there any add-ons that can help me do it? Nothing here really says that helps me. Okay, well, you know, me being me, I know, you know, I have an add-on, and I'm going to load up Reforge Lite. So those of you that know how to use Reforge Lite or don't know, I'll show you. I'm going to load it up right here, and it is an okay add-on. It allows you to reforge things in-game. It's not bad overall. Let me just reload it. And it's going to help me with, you know, making sure I have the right stat priorities. Welcome back, Conrad. Thanks for resubbing. Much appreciated. Cześć, kolego. I dzięki. Okay. So let's go to Reforge Lite here. So I have Reforge Lite loaded up. I know I need Hidden Expertise, right? Hidden Expertise to capped. So let's go to the Reforge person here. And this add-on is pretty good when it doesn't break. Okay, so here are my stat weights. This is the add-on right here. This already has, you know, for Retribution, the Hidden Expertise caps. Then it goes Haste, Mastery, Crit. Well, that's the same thing that Noxic said. I guess Noxic is right. Okay, I'll follow along with that. What am I doing here? There. So why don't we calculate there? Tell me what I should do. Okay, gain hit, lose crit, gain haste, lose mastery. Okay, well, I'm going to follow along with this. I'm not going to double check it, but I'm going to show what you want me to reforge. And what this does is it decides, you know, where your stat priorities should be. So if I wanted, here, reforge all my stuff, please. There. So it is reforging everything to be pretty optimal. Pretty optimal. I need to sneeze, sorry. Oh, God. Sneeze. Damn it. Okay. So, Hidden Expertise cap. Well, let's see if I have Hidden Expertise cap now. I'm going to move this stuff around. And I'm at Hidden Expertise cap now, 7.5%, as well as Expertise, 7.5%. That's perfect. Okay, so I am Hidden Expertise capped now, following that priority of Hit Expertise cap, haste, then Mastery, then Crit. And why Haste and Mastery? Well, it sort of told me earlier. If I go back here, go back to Reforging, and stat priority, sorry. Haste increases your speed, your attack speed, and reduces both the global cooldown and the ability cooldowns of Judgment, Crusader, Strike, Hammer of Righteous, Exorcism, Hammer of whatever, thanks to Sanctity of Battle talent. So there's a talent that, based off my haste, I can hit my buttons quicker, which is good. That's good to remember. So the more haste I have, the quicker my abilities will be off of cooldown, and I can hit them again. Most people don't know what the actual global cooldown is. Don't worry about that for now. Pretend we're still, you know, little noobs. And why is that important? Well, more frequent attacks result in faster holy power generation. That's actually pretty decent. You know, Noxic, they might have a brain here. They might. It might be right. That's pretty good. Mastery adds holy damage to core damage, including Crusader Strike. Okay, so it adds additional holy damage. Good. Knowing a raider, I know holy damage can't really be resisted. Increase the chance, and crit increases the chance for attacks to critically hit. Well, the chance to critically hit. That chance is like flipping a coin or rolling a dice. You know, it's not super, you know, effective. And ignored, you're an idiot. So, we have our sort of gear set up now. I've reforged, well, not fully regemmed. Now, I've got a sword here. You know, how do I know what I should enchant with it. It's been reforged already. Let's go under gems and enchants. What do I do for weapons? Dancing steel. Okay. Does anyone have... Let's see if anyone in the guild has dancing steel. Maybe I have some in the guild bank here. Let's look for dancing steel. Enchanting gems. Offhand. Maybe Hens is online. No. Colossus. No. Can someone... Maybe Autumn's an enchanter or somebody that's watching. Or Maya Varov. Hopefully that's going to be dancing steel. And I have a gem, right? So I still have unsocketed blue gem right here in my weapon. Put on the mixed music song. How to not learn your class. Just bear with me, guys. Just see it through. Trust me. This will totally be fine. Sparty's not sick. Just please bear with me. This is how, a regular person would use... resources. How do you know the right resources are correct? But please bear with me, stick around, and you'll understand why I'm using Noxic right now. Is there any other websites that have information besides Noxic and Icy Veins? Yes! Just stick around, I'll go through it, just wait. Please, it's not just, I'm not an idiot, just randomly using Noxic. You're not idiots either. So I need Dancing Steel, can somebody send it to me? Can you just, send it to me, I'll reimburse you? That would be fantastic. I want the enchant. Oh, what mats? Dead Men. So Dead Men will enchant it for us.
10 shards and then other things.
What do you... Perfect. I'll reimburse you, Dead Men. Don't worry. Just let me know. Or invoice me. So now it's enchanted. Perfect. So enchants mean I do more damage, right? More procs and that kind of shit. Well, right here I have that blue socket still. Thanks for that. Blue socket, what should I put in there? Haste hit, expertise hit. Well, I don't really need to put any of that stuff in there. I guess I'm just going to go put in a haste gem right now. Hopefully I have any haste gems here. I do have a haste gem, perfect. So I'm going to put a haste gem into my weapon. I'm not going to follow the socket bonus, which is, I guess, fine. It's low bonus. We can talk about that kind of stuff later for red. Okay, so I'm gemmed, fully enchanted now, mostly, I think. Whatever. I've got, 496 rings. I need more kind of stuff. Okay. So that stuff's ready to go. Well, now what buttons do I press? I'm new to this class. I just bought this account. I want to, have those mad deeps for getting into a proper guild. Let's look at talents and build and glyphs through Noxic. So, Noxic, this is what it's fantastic for. Speed of Light, Fist of Justice, this is what I should go. Okay, so let's go Clemency, Sanctified Wrath, Execution. Okay, I'm going to follow this guide. There we go, Clemency. Okay, why did I do that? This is the base DPS spec for Red Paladin, Speed of Light, whatever, provide great utility, but maybe swapped with different talents in the same tier. Okay, Sanctified Wrath, Execution, Intense, improve your damage. Okay, sounds good. Sounds fantastic to me. Now what about glyphs? I've got Templar's Verdict, Divine Protection, and Avenging Wrath. Is that right? Is that right as a Red Paladin? Well, let's see what they say. They say Double Jeopardy, Mass Exorcism. Okay, this one's recommended. Great boost to survivability. Cool, I've got that one, I'm pretty sure. Yep. Mass Exorcism recommended DPS boost on fights with stacked mobs. Okay, well, I'll choose Mass Exorcism here. Do I even have it? Yeah, I do. I must. Okay, let's remove this one. Put it in Mass Exorcism. Right there. And what was the other one? Double Jeopardy. Recommend DPS boost on fights with multiple targets. Okay, multiple targets. There's usually multiple targets all around, everywhere. Good logic. Okay, let's use Double Jeopardy. Cool, now we have that. Perfect. Done. So my talents glyphs are right? DPS rotation and cooldowns. So this is where, the bread and butter of it is. What do I use and when do I hit it? Well, it says, execute this priority for optimal DPS. Alright, Noxic, you know what you're talking about, always. So maintain these buffs at all times. Seal of Truth. Okay. Seal of Truth. Got it. No, thank you for the invite. There we go. Inquisition, maintain the buff. Okay, so with Inquisition, for those of you that don't know, it's a buff to your Holy Paladin damage and crit and stuff. maintain the buff. So mine, there's my Inquisition. And I also have a little weak aura, thanks to Marksman, that shows my Inquisition right here. And then what? What else? Okay, Templar's Verdict with 5 holy power? What? That seems really, really dumb. Is that a typo? Because Templar's Verdict with 5 holy power is here. Hammer of... Okay, and over here it says 3 holy power. It's got to be a typo. Bear with me here, guys. I know what I'm doing. So it's got to be a typo. Hammer of Wrath on targets below 60%. Okay, well, this one is not below 20%, so I can't hammer it right here. Exorcism to Crusader Strike. Okay, so this is the priority. So Inquisition is up, right? Yeah, Inquisition is still up. Here, Templar's Verdict with 5 holy power. I have 0 holy power right now. Crusader Strike, Exorcism, and Judgment. Okay, Crusader Strike, Exorcism, Judgment. Okay, let's go. No, that was Exorcism. Damn it, I screwed up already. Fuck. So, Crusader Strike, Exorcism on cooldown. I guess I'll wait for it again. Okay, there it is. Crusader Strike, Exorcism, Judgment, Templar's Verdict. Okay, well, now my Inquisition buff fell off, so I'm an idiot. Here, let's put it up again. There. Okay, so Crusader Strike. Okay, that's... Still waiting on it, right? Like, I'm still waiting on this damn thing. And then Templar's Verdict. Okay. Well, it is a priority system. For those of you sort of not knowing, it is a priority system. What it means is, if it's not up, don't wait for it. Use the next thing. So a priority means only if it's available. Okay, this is Sparty putting on his, proper Sparty hat again. So let's say I use Crusader Strike, Exorcism, Judgment. Crusader Strike. Okay, well, nothing on cooldown. Judgment's off cooldown. I'll use Judgment instead. Crusader Strike again. Exorcism. So I'll use those things based on if they're available, but it lists these based off the highest damage per... I think it's called DPE. Damage per execution, or damage per button push, or whatever. So Crusader Strike is first, then Exorcism, then Judgment. If Crusader Strike's on cooldown, I would use Exorcism. If Exorcism's on cooldown, I would use Judgment. If Judgment's on cooldown, I'll just keep Crusader Striking if nothing's available. And then you always follow sort of that priority. Okay, fine. Well, that's single target. For AoE, I'm not going to worry about AoE right now. Seal of Truth and Seal of Righteousness, fine. Whatever. I'm not going to deal with AoE rotations right now. And here, okay, here it says effective use of cooldowns are available if you choose them in your talent build. Execution Sentence on cooldown, try to stack with Avenging Wrath. Okay, well that sort of makes sense, because Avenging Wrath, what does it do? Increase all damage by 20%, and what does Execution Sentence do? I had it here a second ago. Execution Sentence does a big, Execution Sentence from below. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit Execution, or my Avenging Wrath, and Execution Sentence. There it is, it's coming down. Fantastic. Now what? How long does it take to come down? 10 seconds. Okay. But when should I use my Avenging Wrath with Execution Sentence? I don't know, Noxic, tell me. Yeah, this is right education through sarcasm, so this is a little sarcastic. Now, this is Nox. I always tell you guys not to use Noxic because the information is always really incomplete. It's not been backed up by sources. Noxic is not that great of a resource. Noxic is toxic. While some of the information is correct, not all of it is that great. It's like bare bones. I just bought this account. I just leveled to 490, or got 496 item level. I just leveled to 90. What do I use? Well, people suggest Noxic because it's easy and gives you that little guide. It's not great for maximizing, DPS and doing that kind of stuff. Let me put this back over here for a sec. Now, it's not that effective. What I'm going to show you guys next is more Icy Veins. And Icy Veins is fantastic as well. With Icy Veins, it has a little bit more information. Let's look at Icy Veins here for Retribution Paladins. So, Retribution Paladin for 5.4, that is the current patch-ish. Welcome to our guide. This guide has been reviewed and approved by Anafiel. He's got a Twitter account, okay? One of the authors of Sacred Duty. I've heard of Sacred Duty. I think that's a pretty famous Paladin website. Okay, so he's got some shit backing him up. And he's also an accomplished raider on her... Okay, maybe it's a she. On her own. So let's click at this accomplished raider bit. Okay, Anafiel, show me what you got. Something Wicked. That is a pretty prominent guild. let's see, she's 579 geared, so must be, you know, pretty good. Let's look at Anaphiel's progression. Pretty good. I mean, they killed Garrosh 8 times. That's pretty respectable for a red paladin. So, I know now that Icy Vein says this guide has been approved by this awesome raider. Okay, so it might have some proper information. Let's look at that kind of stuff. Let's go through each of these things again. They've made it by 7 pages. The only thing about this, it hasn't been updated in a little while, which is fine, mostly. Here, okay, this has a little bit more information. It says, you know, it links to the talents themselves. It tells you which are performance enhancing, more are movement based, speed of light, long arm of the law, or pursuit of justice. Okay, well, which one's better? How do I know which one's better? So this one is, you guys remember when you were, how old? 13 years old, and you started building your critical thinking skills? You know, how do I know what I know? How do I know what something is telling me, or someone is telling me, isn't full of shit? How do I use my brain? Well, let's use our brains here. Here, it sort of gives you more of an explanation. What these talents do. So speed of light is an active talent, 45-second cooldown to increase your movement speed. Okay, it tells you a brief overview of what these talents are. Your choice here will depend entirely on your playstyle and the requirements of the encounter. Well, that sounds pretty intelligent, rather than just telling me what to do like a friggin' sheep. I'm not some sheep that listens to whatever, you know, I am told. I have to figure out information for myself. Pursuit of Justice offers constant passive movement, okay, which is great. But knowing I'm a raider, I also know that the boot enchant, Pandaren Step, also gives me movement increase. And because I'm a raider and I know these movement speeds do not stack. So there's no point in either having the enchant or the talent. And Long Arm of the Law will quickly provide stuff when I need to judge. Depends when I would use them, but most paladins, I know as a holy paladin, I use Speed of Light. Why? Because I don't always need that speed, that movement speed increase. I don't always need it. I need it, you know, when shit is chasing me. I need it when I need to get to another position somewhere else in the raid, so I can use my rotation as a healer. I don't need to, you know, I don't ever judge as a holy paladin. Maybe for a raid it might be better. I don't know. So, you know, which one do I go with? Well, I'm going to go with Speed of Light. It is a pretty effective talent. Trust me. Tier 2 talent is more for crowd control. Well, what am I crowd controlling in a raid? Am I stunning stuff? Yeah, I guess so. Am I ever repentancing things? I can think of one piece of trash you would ever repentance, and that's on the way to Garrosh. This allows me to fear things. Why would I ever fear anything in a raid? Never. You never ever want to fear anything in a raid. Even in a dungeon, fearing is usually bad, because when you fear something, it runs off and makes more friends, and says hello to Driaz, and they all make more friends, and they all come back to you once they're unfeared. So, don't pick up that fear talent. Okay. Tier 3 talents offer 3 healing abilities. Okay, well, I know I'm never going to be using Eternal Flame. Cephalus Healer is the way to go, because I will be judging often based off that rotation earlier, right? So it tells me talents first. Okay, we believe Unbreakable Spirit should be the default choice in most encounters. It greatly improves survivability by allowing more frequent use of Divine Protection, and utility, allowing you to bypass mechanics. Oh, wait a sec, though. Let's go back here for a sec. Nox, what did you tell me to do? Nox just told me to go... Clemency. Why? Great utility. Well, this sort of tells me why. Will literally double your powerful ability, and this talent be a strong choice. Okay, so it is a strong choice, but Icy Veins tells you why. Guys, it's always important to know why something is good. Do not mindlessly follow a spec or a choice or somebody's gearing thing. Always ask why. And if you're not just ask them. Go up to the person. Hey, you know, why did you choose that talent? You know, hey, maybe it was for a certain fight. People go into my channel all the time and they ask, Sparty, why are you Selfless Healer? It's shit. Well, you know, it depends on the encounter. You know, I can totally tell you why. Just be nice about it. Don't ask, you know, silly questions. Hey, Tira. Yeah, the lock standstill fear is okay. Meow. That one's okay. Because it is considered a CC. So Unbreakable Spirit, okay, this one, it gives me a good reason. I do want to survive often. I'm not going to be running Clemency. Okay, so let's go out of Clemency. I'm out of tombs now. Wonderful. Can somebody drop a tomb person nearby, please? Those of you that are around watching. Zeos or Flying or someone. Okay, Hand of Purity is useful and depends on the number of encounters. Okay, so I won't choose that one. Okay, here's a great, really contentious one. This talent offers you 3 performance-enhancing abilities. Holy Avenger is 2-minute cooldown for 18 seconds. Okay, that sounds pretty decent. Sanctified Wrath increases the duration of Avenging Wrath. Or decreases the duration. What? Oh, increases the duration, yeah. And Avenging Wrath reduces the cooldown of Hammer of Wrath, yeah. So I can do more hammers, plus my Avenging Wrath is longer. Sounds good. Divine Purpose gives your abilities cost 25% chance to be a free Holy Power attack. So, basically... Oh, thank you. Thanks, Flying Death. I appreciate that. I'll get back to you. Just invoice me. So let's fix that. Unbreakable Spirit is what we're going to go with. And so what Divine Purpose does is every time I cast my Templar's Verdict or something that costs Holy Power, it has a chance to proc again for me. So let's do that. So I can get our combat. Combat, please. There we go. Let's go with Divine Purpose. Let's test this thing out. This is important. Testing things out. Okay, let's see if it procs. Okay, it didn't proc there. Didn't proc there. That was also Inquisition going up. Selfless Eater still didn't proc for me. This talent sucks. Still didn't proc for me. There, it finally procced. Okay, Divine Purpose. You guys saw the big message. So my next Holy Power finisher, there it procced again. And it procced again. And it procced again. Oh, Jesus. That was awesome. So, this is what I sort of tell you guys with Holy Paladins and Divine Purpose. It is so random. It didn't proc the first 4 times that I used the finisher, and the next 4 times it procced every single time in a row, which is, I guess, sort of great. It's also not too great when you... just whatever. What should you use? You should use Eternal Flame, Zactifair. Use Eternal Flame, trust me. It's a bit easier. Okay. That's a great question. Forever Bronze, if you can hold it for a sec here. Just wait. So what talent should I use? Well, currently Sanctified Wrath provides the highest DPS of the 3 talents. Okay. Well, that's good information. Also, I know this guide is verified by that Red Paladin of whatever. The difference between all 3 talents is quite small. Okay, fair enough. Here's some additional information. At lower pre-raid gear levels, so let's say I'm 496, that brand new Paladin, Holy Avenger will perform better than Sanctified Wrath. It is also worth noting that since Avenging Wrath has been changed to a 2-minute cooldown, Holy Avenger lines up perfectly with Avenging Wrath. Okay, fine. And then for tier 6 talents, you have a choice, tells you what they do. And here, for single target DPS, Execution Sentence is the best choice. Okay, well, Noxic said the same thing. Execution Sentence is the way to go. For AoE DPS, Light's Hammer may provide more DPS than Execution Sentence, but the difference is small. I don't know about that. Holy Prism requires too many global cooldowns used to its full potential, and thus it should never be taken. Tall words, tall words. What it comes down to is, it depends on the fight. If you know there's going to be a lot of adds, I'm trying to think of a really good encounter for this. Maybe something like Galacras, or, you know, it depends on the encounter. So another great one for maybe Garrosh. Garrosh, if you need additional healing, because it does do additional healing, maybe you want to throw down your Light's Hammer. Single target, though, they're both absolutely right. You would use Execution Sentence. Okay, let's look at glyphs here now. Double Jeopardy, which is what Noxic told us about. Templar's Verdict, okay, reduces damage taken. Mass Exorcism reduces your exorcism to melee range, but it causes to deal a small amount of AoE damage. In addition to its single target damage, it is useful in fights where there's multiple targets. Note that the damage the exorcism does to each target is buffed by the tier 15 2-piece. Okay, now what is my current 4-piece? Art of War activates, so Holy Power consumed. So that's more of an AoE thing. Okay. That's pretty cool. Okay, so that's some pretty decent information. They're fairly similar, Noxic and the other one, but Icy Veins is a little bit more backing it up. Well, let's go a little bit further now. So we've looked at talents. Let's look at rotation, cooldowns, and abilities. Okay. So here it says keep Inquisition up, ideally with 3 Holy Power. Okay. Cast Templar's Verdict when you have 5 Holy Power. What? Why? That makes 0 sense. Like, don't... So, because I just learned the game, I'm just pretending, I know that whether I have, 5 Holy Power, so let's have, let's get a bunch of Holy Power here in a sec. That's 3 Holy Power, my Sonar Ping goes off. I have 4 Holy Power. If I use Templar's Verdict, it doesn't bring me down to 1. So why does that matter? Why should I go from 5 to 2 rather than from 3 to 0? Why does that make a difference? I know, just bear with me, guys. Those of you that are Paladins, you know too. So let's follow along here. Use cast Execution Sentence, okay. Hammer of Wrath on cooldown, so fine, it's only available when it's on 20% or low, or Avenging Wrath is activated. Fair enough. Crusader Strike, Judgment, Divine Storm if you have the Hubris bonus. Okay. And Exorcism is the lowest priority. Templar's Verdict when I have 3 Holy Power again. Okay. Well, that's fine. In order to better understand this rotation, you must understand this subtleties that are related to Holy Power. Okay, well that's pretty interesting. This has some more information as maybe it tells me why I would go with 5 Holy Power. So this tells you a little bit more information. Balanced Conviction, you have maximum of 5. Why you should be using at 5. Maybe. So, let's keep going here. I'm going to cover that stuff in a sec. You should always use Seal of Truth. Against 4 more enemies, use Seal of Righteousness. That's a lot of AoE. Multi-target rotation, cooldown uses. When should I use my cooldowns? I don't know when to use Avenging Wrath, or my Guardian, or what else I choose. I choose Divine Purpose, so I went with that one for now. I should probably go with Sanctified Wrath, though. Get out of combat, though. 1 sec. Get out of combat. Okay. Mastering Retribution Paladin. This section will give you details how to execute rotation based on priorities mentioned. Okay, so this gives you even more information. How do I become from that Noxic Jackalope to, a better, a more decent Paladin? Well, follow this. This gives you what to do at 5 Holy Power, at 3 Holy Power, below 3 Holy Power. All those little intricacies with being a decent Retribution Paladin. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Okay, so let's go with Sanctified Wrath here. Okay, so this gives you more of a breakdown of what to use, when to use it. Some pretty good information. Let's look at buffs, debuffs, and useful abilities. It tells you what your buffs do, what your debuffs do, your interrupts, your Hammer of Justice, your Hodge, as it's called apparently. Look at stat priorities and reforging. Okay, so Noxic told me 7.5% to hit, expertise, strength or haste. See below. Okay, interesting. Mastery and crit. Okay, so same sort of priority that Noxic told me. Okay, now that's not bad. If you're unsure what optimal reforging strategy for the year above, you can ask Mr. Robot. Okay, let me log out here really quick. Maybe I'll use Mr. Robot. Because Mr. Robot can tell me what to do better. Let me just log out to make sure my armory is updated. Okay. Let's go down to stat priority. Okay, so this tells me basically the same things that Noxic said. Strength's primary statistic, you need hit expertise because you never want to miss, you never want to have stuff dodged. Haste increases your cooldown and lowers the global cooldowns. Mastery. Okay, that's fine. Strength versus haste rating. Okay, which one is better? Tier 14 rating gear. Okay, so I know this guide's a little out of date. It needs to be updated by like a really good Red Paladin. Let's look at gems, enchants, and professions. Okay, so people always ask, hey, I'm a Resto Druid. What profession should I use? Well, Icy Veins can suggest for you, which profession you should use, generally. Yeah, Noxic told you this, Noxic told you that. I know, guys, just bear with me for a sec here. So let's use Mr. Robot here, because I'm not sure what to do, right? I'm a regular Jackalope. I don't know what to do. So, Mr. Robot, tell me what to do. Let's look at Mr. Robot. What is he going to tell me? Okay, I'm ret spec here. I've got some gear. Can you optimize me? Fix my shit, because I'm too lazy. Okay, so he says, what should I change here? Okay, do I even have this? This is my, one sec, let me check if my stuff for Sparty is updated. Okay, so clearly my stuff's not enchanted. That's fine. So Mr. Robot says, my shoulder enchants, I need to enchant that, fine. Or what these things are, what to do here. Okay, I have this kind of stuff. Enable reforge only, show job location, shopping list. So what I need to do, so this is what I'm currently reforged, what I should reforge to. Here I should remove my reforge. Okay, well, Ask Mr. Robot tells me some different things. Because I did use reforged lead, and I put in the priorities that I wanted, you know, when I went back to reforged lead, and now Mr. Robot tells me to do something else completely. Yeah. Okay. So let's look at my reforged light. So this is an add-on that helps you reforge things based on the priorities, and Mr. Robot tells me to do something else. Okay, let's edit the weights here. Okay. Oh, so a little bit less sarcasm here. Mr. Robot is a tool. It's like a calculator. You have to use it effectively. You can't just say, please fix my gear, you know. Do not be a sheep that listens to everything it says, you know. You have to know what your stat weights are. Now, we know that it is, you know, hit expertise, haste, mastery, crit. Those of you that are experienced paladins, you know that you should be around 40,000 haste. Well, Noxic and Icy Veins do not tell me that. They just say go haste. You know, you should be at least 40,000 haste and then go mastery, whatever. So you need this much haste. How much? Sorry, that much rating, right? Yeah, so 40%. Buffed haste. Oh, it's buffed haste, yeah. So what should I do here? You know, what do I value more? So you need to know what your stat weights are. You know, how much do I value hidden expertise? How much do I value strength compared to haste, compared to mastery, crit? Well, the other things told me crit is pretty useless, so I can, you know, make it a little bit smaller. I've shown you guys with my Holy Paladin how to use those other little ways here. What does this tell me? PvP, PvE. Yeah, this stuff is kind of fine. Guaranteed optimal. Guaranteed! Guaranteed optimal. Okay, well that's an interesting guarantee there. Yeah, it takes... I know, guys. I know it takes into consideration optimal gemming to get the most haste and stuff. So, now what Lannister brought up here in chat is Reforged Light does not take into account gems. It only takes into account reforges. So, I could have gemmed something completely different in my greatsword. And here, Mr. Robot, it tells me gem something else in your greatsword. Gem this thing because it gives you strength and haste. Plus, you get the bonus. And, you know, it tells you what to gem a little better, plus reforge. But just make sure the information that you're getting is accurate. Okay, it has to be accurate. And where do you get that information? Well, you know, from websites like this. So let's go back to Icy Veins for a sec here. Let's go back. So again, same thing with gemming. When should I gem a haste gem or a strength gem, or what sockets? Well, it sort of tells you, you know, whether you're strength gemming or haste gemming. What you need. But Mr. Robot is a tool that can help you if you know how to use it. Okay, if you know how to use it. Same thing here with enchants. You know, what should I use for enchants? Inscription, if you're an inscriptionist, this one's pretty cheap if you're a cheapskate. And this is obviously the Greater Tiger Fang Inscription, which is what I need right now. So let's go get Greater Tiger Fang Inscription while I head over. So, know the tools you are using. Know the information you're getting is accurate. Well, we know that Icy Veins is accurate because it was referenced by that Red Paladin. And I looked up that Red Paladin, and they've killed heroic bosses. So they must know what they're doing for PvE. Isn't there stats you should never gem for? Give me an example, Drainer. What do you mean by what stats I should never gem for? Like spell penetration? Because that would be right. Yeah, you know, I should not... Yeah, I should... Oh, you got it? Okay, well. It'll take a... whatever. Doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'll just buy midgets. I need to buy it anyway. That's what I have gold for, right? Oh, that's not fucking auction house. No, it's totally fine. I'll get it. That's what I get on my gold, like when I do my LFRs and flies. So what was it called again? It was called Greater Tiger Fang. Greater Tiger Fang. It's 63 gold. That's nothing. That is chump change. That is, you know, one boss and flex to me and getting gold. Or one heroic boss and me rolling. That's easy. Super cheap to afford. Okay. Let's enchant my shoulders. Perfect. Done. Okay. So that's been enchanted. What else? So this tells me that there are enchants to use consumables, what foods to use, what flasks to use. Well, I'm sure what, or Nox didn't tell me any of that. It just told me, you know, what enchanted gems to use. Potions of Mogu Power. Okay, well that's pretty good. Profession perks. So this gives you a breakdown of what the different professions do for you. You notice how mining's not on here, guys? Those of you up-and-coming raiders, you notice how mining does nothing for your DPS. Yeah, you could make the argument that, sure, it gives you more stamina so you survive more, but you shouldn't need the stamina in the first place, so stop standing in fire. Okay, we're going to help you with that kind of stuff. Thanks, Goliath. Thanks for the nice words. Thanks. Listen to my raid leader. Moelia, we're going to highlight this, so you can go listen to your raid leader, so you don't get in trouble. Okay. Let's go back to here. So this is more professions. It's one thing at a time. Let's move on to the next one. Let's look at macros and add-ons, because I know people use macros and add-ons, right? You know, what macro should I use? I pretty much don't have any macros and add-ons for my red spec at all. Let's go over to a target dummy here. So here are some mouse over macros, and if you guys know my stream, I've been talking a lot about mouse over macros. They're fantastic. So let's say I'm a red paladin. Is anybody in Stormwind? If somebody wants to come to Stormwind and be my guinea pig, that would be fantastic. Test something out. I'll show you why mouse over macros are good. If somebody wants to come to Stormwind, just whisper me. I'll invite you and be my guinea pig for a sec here. Okay, let me go to get something here. Let's go. There, we'll put it here for now. There. Okay. And we'll put another ability here. There. Okay. So these are mouse over macros. Well, what is a macro? If you type in /macro, thanks, Eos. If you type in /macro, these are your macros. So these are my general macros. They're Sparty-specific macros only to this character. There are some add-ons that give you longer macros or more of them. Don't worry about it. There's everybody here. Okay, so let's say I'm a red paladin. Let's say I'm DPSing. Why are macros important, or mouse over macros important? So here I am, DPSing, and Zeos, that dumb bastard, this one over here, well, he's standing in fire. You know, he's standing in fire right over here where he is right now, and he needs a Hand of Sacrifice. Well, okay, I'm going to cast Hand of Sacrifice on him right now. Let me click this, and then click there. Maybe I can't Hand of... Why is that not working? There, I have him targeted. Okay, so I have him targeted, and Hand of Sacrifice done. Perfect. Now he's taking less damage for a bit. Perfect. Good job, Zeos. Okay, now I know Zeos is a good player. Let's say he is DPSing so hard, and the tank is just sort of picking his nose. Zeos doing all the damage that he's doing, he's going to pull threat. Well, I need to cast Salve on him now, right? The reason mouse over macros are so fantastic is I don't need to stop my rotation. You know, I don't need to click Zeos, and then, where's my Blessing Protection? Let's say it was in my bars. There, I don't have to click all that stuff. That interrupts your rotation. It's slower. It's slower. You lose DPS by doing those kinds of things. Mouse over macros are fantastic because all I have to do is just hover over his, his nameplates, and I'm going to cast a salve on him. So while I'm DPSing here, and my salvation is bound to Shift S. So I have the target dummy targeted. I don't need to target him and stop DPSing. I'm going to click Shift S, and he's got a salve on him. Or really, my macro is broken there. Embarrassing. But no. Let me make sure it's running here. No, it's the wrong one. Okay, so once my thing comes off cooldown, I'll use it again. I'll show you guys how to use Hand of Sacrifice. So yeah, my macro was not set up for Hand of Salvation. There it is. So this is my mouse over macro for salvation. Let me put it back over here. There. And let's go Hand of Sacrifice. Make sure this one's working so I can show you guys properly. There. There. Triple check. So while I'm DPSing all these things, you know, I have things bound to... We're going to cover keybinds in a sec here. You know, where I should bind things. So this will be a mouse over macro for me using Hand of Sacrifice on him while I'm DPSing. So I'm doing my rotation here. You know, I'm DPSing. Here's a Hand of Sac on him right there. You see it pop on my raid frames. I never had to have him targeted. You know, it's much more effective to have a mouse over macro than target Zeos on my raid frames, click Hand of Sacrifice, click the boss, go back to DPSing. Depending on how quick you are or how slow you are, you could lose a big time frame of DPS, and you notice it. You definitely notice it. One mouse over macro. Yeah, mouse over macros for battle res. Great one, Lannister. That's also a good suggestion. Thanks, Alza, for the nice message as well. Greetings from Holland. Hello to Holland. Hello. To you holes. Okay, so let's go back to our little stuff here. Lay on hands macro, same thing, that's good. A cleanse macro. I use a cleanse macro on my Holy Paladin spec. But the one difference I have between my cleanse, and you can cleanse yourself as a Red Paladin of like poison, disease, and shit. But not magic. So one thing I do on my Holy Paladin is I have a stop casting macro, which means if I'm halfway through a cast, it will interrupt my cast right away, and then cast cleanse. Reason being, with global cooldown, so if I cast something, it'll put my holy spells on global cooldown, I have to wait for it. I want that cleanse right away. So I have a little stop casting line right here that says stop the cast, then cast mouse over macro cleanse. And that's bound to tilde usually. So let's say I'm DPSing, and Zeos is so far into DPS-itis that he's not paying attention to the shit that he's doing. So I'm going to cleanse him really quick here. There you see. I hovered over him. Like, I don't have to have anything targeted. You know, my mouse is free right now to do whatever it wants. To hover over things, to target other things with, you know, judgment, because with my glyph here. But I can cleanse him, see? I just... That little swirl, that is my cleanse. I hover over him on my raid frames, and I cleanse him. Some DPS don't use raid frames at all. Well, what if you're a feral, or a boomkin, or a warlock, and you need to battle res somebody? I'm not advocating, you know, you need your raid frames right in the middle of your screen right here, like a healer might, but you should have them somewhere prominent, you know, somewhere on the side so you can see the status of your raid. You know, I don't think it's really effective to just have no raid frames, or have no information on your raid frames. You should have important stuff, you know, debuffs, buffs, so you know how your raid is doing while you're doing your regular little rotation here. I mouse over everything as a healer, mouse over for silence. Yeah, exactly. It's all better than making a macro for every single person in a raid because you use less buttons. And one thing is you can combine macros so you can make control shift. Exactly. So, so my Hand of Sacs and Salves and things like that. So here is, I think this is Hand of Freedom. Okay, that's also broken. So here's my Hand of Sacrifice on Zeos. You see it cast on him while I have the boss targeted while I'm DPSing. Same thing with Salve again. There you see Salve on him. Okay, Salve, the little thing went off. Mouse over macros are fantastic as a DPS. You know, Red Paladins have a lot of utility. Use mouse over macros. Give me some examples. You guys give me some examples here on stream of what other classes may really benefit from mouse over macros. Just give me DPS classes. Healers, mouse over macros, fantastic. What other utility spells do you guys as DPS use for mouse over macros? You know, whether you're a boomkin or a warlock, like Combat Res was mentioned earlier, what do you use? LVY is fantastic, Carthes. It's a great overall UI overhaul. Why don't I use it? I do use it. I don't know what you mean here. What do you think of LVY? Pretty much just everything in one add-on. Like, I totally use LVY. I don't know what you mean. Mages, Combat Res, DKs, Detox as a monk. Thank you, Maddie. Off healing as a boomkin. Yeah! Yeah, boomkins are not just, you know, some friggin' dumbass chicken. shooting stars at stuff. You can off-heal. Shamans do stuff. You can, have mouse over macros for interrupts or whatever. Fucking life grip, I swear to God. Shadow Priest, life gripping, of course you guys had to mention. You had to mention life grip, of course. Yeah, shield for Shadow Priest, Dark Shamans, yeah. All that stuff is great. As a DPS, you are not just a DPS class. You are a team player. You are not a glass cannon mage that all they can do is shoot fireballs or arcane missiles or whatever.
Mages are.
Seer is. But you guys are, your team players. Use that utility that your class has. I got some other tells here from Kirby. Warriors can mouse over vigilance. Yeah, mouse over intercepts or whatever else you guys use. You can do so much. But do use those mouse over macros. They're fantastic. You can be doing the same DPS you do, plus more raid utility. And the more raid utility you have, the better the raid's going to like you. Yeah, see, Serafina, I think same thing. You as a boomkin, give Innervate to your healers. I get Innervate from our boomkin. Because I suck on Garage. Our Bran, so when we're doing Heroic Garage, Bran is like full mana. Our Disc Priests are at full mana. Sparty's, running on fumes, the lowest possible healer, and everybody's giving me Innervates. Here you go, Sparty, it's okay. Totally fine.
Phase transition, we do all of our heals.
And then bring me back to like 3/4 health, or 3/4 mana. I know. Yeah, Mage Slowfall, so those are all really great suggestions for mouse over macros. Yeah, mouse over safeguard, thank you, that's another great suggestion, Gauze. That's an awesome one. Okay, let's go back to more macros. So here's another really good one for Divine Shield. This macro will stop your current spell cast and cast Divine Shield, ensuring that your invulnerability is not delayed at all. Fantastic, because I don't want to be in the middle of a cast of Holy Light or Divine Light or Holy Radiance, have something right about to punch me in the face, and me worrying about getting my heal off. This little macro, I don't use it, I should. I really should. Stops your cast right away, cast Divine Shield, perfect. This one will stop your current spell cast interrupts, because if you don't interrupt something, your raid may wipe. When you guys get to heroic encounters, if you miss one interrupt, your raid can wipe. If you're assigned to an interrupt, you must do it. If you fuck up because you were too busy casting your spells, too busy DPSing or whatever, raid wipes. Because you didn't have something like a stop casting macro in your interrupt. Sorry, I gotta work text here. Give me one sec. Oops. Okay, whatever. It'll be fine. Righteous Fury. This allows you to activate remove Righteous Fury with one button. Useful if you want threat generation in order to kite certain mobs in encounter. Yes, so. Okay, now here. This is perfect. Right here. Thank you, Icy Veins and not Noxic. Noxic can just go fuck itself now. Here are great add-ons for a Ret Paladin. And I am learning Ret Paladin. So LVY, we use for all the characters, that's fine. This is a link to download it from tuckui.org. Fantastic. LVY right here. GTFO is a lightweight add-on that notifies you when you're standing in harmful effects. So when Sparty's not around to slap you, you have this add-on. Weak Auras do the same thing, but GTFO is a pretty decent add-on that shows when to not stand in things. Mixed scrolling battle text. A lot of you guys that are DPS, this is important for more of an advanced level of play. How many targets your abilities are hitting, what procs. It's really good for that kind of stuff. Parrot I have not personally used. Recount is a well-known add-on that most people use. The thing is, SCADA is much more lightweight. You don't need to use Recount. Recount has all these nice bars and charts and that kind of stuff that you just don't need. So do use SCADA. A lot of you guys have resource-limited computers. Use SCADA instead. It can give you multiple windows, like I have damage and healing here. Right? So use those things instead. Weak Auras is fan-friggin-tastic. Well, here, we have a Weak Aura. This Weak Aura obviously tells me when I have 3 or more Holy Power. I'm going to use my Inquisition now. I have I have 2 Weak Auras, actually, because the one I was made it for you guys. This little Weak Aura has a progressive little clock-looking thing when my Weak Auras is when my Inquisition is about to expire. So I know as a Red Paladin, based off this little research, that I need to keep Inquisition up. I can make this bigger, smaller, I can add a number to it, I could make it yell at me going 3, 2, 1, use your Weak Aura, or use your Inquisition. Weak Auras is fantastic for when you're standing in things, when you need to interrupt things. I use a ton. Let me get out of combat here. I use a decent amount of weak auras after they were sort of reset here. There we go. You know, in my rating. So this is, you know, for the stream here. This is for my Holy Paladin when my cloak is procced, which is important for maximizing healing. This is more for Heroic Siegecrafter when there's a Saw Blade on me. It pops up, hey, dumbass, Saw Blade on you. Inquisition here is my Holy Power stuff. Nazgrim, you know, I don't know when to DPS on Nazgrim. Here it says, you know, when to attack, when not to attack, when he's in defensive, whatever. And this is more for Heroic Garrosh and Malice groups. It's why not use CLC, right? We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a sec here. So let's go back to add-ons. There. Weak Aura is, like I said, fantastic. Omen Threat Meter is the most popular add-on for displaying current threat. Okay, fine. But with SCADA, you can have your own threat meter. You know, why use like I used to use Recanted Omen, but because it's so much more memory intensive, I just decided, hey, why don't I just go with SCADA? It's going to be less memory, you know, less sort of lag, in layman's terms, for that kind of stuff. So just use SCADA instead of Omen and Recount. Grid and Grid click sets. LVO comes with decent raid frames. The only real reason for using Grid and Grid click sets is if you want to mouse over a party or raid members in order to cast your various spells or abilities. Not exactly. I mean, I don't have experience with Grid click sets, but mouse over macros mean whatever you mouse over will happen. So, you know how I had Zeus targeted with... here, let me give him Salvation. I'm going to mouse over my Voodoo, my raid frames here. I'm going to give him Salve. He's got Salve now. But mouse over macros are wherever your mouse, your cursor here, wherever your cursor is, that's where you'll cast that ability. I hovered over him. As a fact, we're just going over red here, our coach's corner, and hey, Lori Evan. Yeah. So, mouse over macros, you don't need a certain add-on. You don't need Clique or Grid or Voodoo for mouse over macros. You can use the regular Blizzard raid frames if you so choose, and use mouse over macros that way. The advantage that a lot of these add-ons have is they allow you to do more. You know, for my Holy Spec, I have those shields, right? Those shields are fantastic for doing those kind of things. And here we go. Somebody mentioned CLC, right? Why not use it? It's a very useful add-on that essentially keeps track of your rotation and tells you what spells or abilities you should use next. While the add-on is great, it is prone to error. Therefore, we recommend that you use it more as a guideline than letting it dictate what spells to use at all times. If I'm new to Retribution, this would be a great add-on to use. It would tell you, you know, use this next based off our priority, right? We talked about priorities earlier in the guide. Where's my priority system? There. Here's my single target rotation. So based off my rotation, it would use this priority based off the spells that are currently available. So CLC Ret is a fantastic add-on if you're learning or if you want practice, but a lot of it is just practice. You know, it is just practice and muscle memory. So, well, how do I practice? Really, as a DPS, you should know your rotation inside and out. You know, you should know which buttons go after which buttons. You know, every time you run by a training dummy, go through your rotation for like 30 seconds. You know, just get it practiced. You know, go through your regular stuff here. Now, let's talk about the UI a little bit before we get into keybinds, or we'll do them both at once. So, I need to know, like, with a UI, it needs to be good for you. You know, some people have a great UI, it works for them. It would look really gross for me. You guys know Psycho Mantis's UI, our main tank. Him and like Sko, they have shit everywhere. You know, it's all over their screen. You guys have seen those terrible UI pictures before. Let's see if I can find a picture of a Warcraft terrible UI picture. Perfect, thank you. So here's here's a really bad UI. There. This one is from when Gruul's Lair back in Burning Crusade. It has shit everywhere. You know, if this works for this person, hey, great, but I can guarantee this is not a great UI. It has so much redundant information that you just don't need. Plus, they must be playing on a 12-inch laptop or something. I just don't know. So, you know, an important UI has to work for you. My UI, you know, I go through it, you know, semi-often. I try to make tweaks for me that would make it more efficient. Let's look at another terrible UI picture for you guys. One more here, one more. Let's look at... No, these are some old ones. I'm trying to find another one for you guys just to look at. Other games. No, some of these are okay. Radar X. Okay, so anyway, that was a terrible UI. You don't need that much information. The whole goal of a UI is to give you necessary information and keep it clean. Excuse me. So keep it clean to the point where you can see what's around you. You know, you don't ever... I mean, I had one raider. Bless his heart, Ryo. And you know, this is the Ryo story here. He was, you know, a tank for us back in about 9 years ago, and in Burning Crusade. He wasn't that great of a tank. Like, he was okay. You know, he was like a 40-year-old dude. But he was okay. Now, the thing about Ryo was he didn't, like, he was terrible with his raid surroundings. He was absolutely terrible. So let's say I'm a tank, you know, I'm tanking, and let's say there's an enemy coming from behind here, this little warlock, the ruler. He's attacking me from behind, or attacking my healers. And every time we'd be like, Ryo, there's shit attacking us, get on it! And he'd be like, okay guys, yeah, okay, I see it. Then he would run over and, you know, start tanking stuff, start tanking more stuff, and whatever. Now, we found out in about Nax 40, we're moving to Instructor Resuvius, I think it was, that Ryo played his game like this. As a tank, this is how you would tank shit. No, this is how he would tank. Like this. Or let's say a bigger one. Like this. So yeah. What a fun game this is, right here. Pretend these are Onyxia's balls or boobs or whatever, and this is how he tanked. Ryo, there's shit behind you! Where? Oh, there he is, there he is. Okay, I got it, guys. Totally good, I saved the healers. So he played in more of an immersive mode. You can't see shit, like, Ryo, you're standing in fire. Oh, you're right, guys, sorry. Let me jump out of it. Let me actually keyboard turn out of it. There. Okay, I'm not in fire anymore. Meanwhile, half the raid is dead because, you know, it was untanked while he was looking at his feet, trying to figure out where the fire was. Going back, looking up again. Oh, raid died. So, with a UI here, zoom out. You know, a lot of those heroic raiders will say zoom out so you can see more. You know, I can see the fire around here, I can see the laser beams here, I can see saw blades here. You know, there's a big shredder over here being tanked. You know, I don't ever want to run under the shredder because he's going to stomp on me and kill me. You want to be aware of your surroundings. Just please be aware. So zoom out. I mean, you don't have to be zoomed out, you know, 1,000 yards out, but be zoomed out far enough that you can, you know, you're comfortable enough to see where your feet are. You can see your character enough, but zoom out. And you want a clean UI. You don't want it cluttered with all kinds of crap everywhere. Okay? You don't. Sorry. One sec. I need to answer some app stuff. Sponsored. Okay. So, get a nice clean UI. Don't use that terrible UI. What is this one? Trickster. Yeah, I mean, here's another one. You got to find something that works for you. And this is his UI. Right? I mean, you got to find something that works for you. If this works for you, great. If it doesn't, then don't use it. You can sort of decide between what you want between a really pretty UI or a really informative UI or whatever. My brother, he played a rogue at a high level 2, Vanisk. His UI pretty much looked like this. He had 1, 2, or 3 buttons on his screen, and that was it. Would I advocate that now? No, because I think you still need to see raid frames. But playing the game back then was a little bit different for a rogue. He would have, you know, little proc trackers and things like that, but he would memorize where all his keys were bound. You know, when they were off cooldown, he would have something tracking his combo points. But beyond that, you know, he was a good rogue. Yeah, I mean, it was a clean UI. So find what works for you. Now, for me as a Holy Paladin, let's go back to Holy Paladin spec for a sec here. Put my gear back on. I'll sort of give you the information of why I have my UI the way I do. And we'll go back to Icy Veins and stuff in a sec here. So, with my UI, I need things, you know, around my character, you know, where I'm standing. So Voodoo is a great add-on that I use. It's really customizable. It's really powerful. In a 25-man setting, this is how it looks for me. This is my raid frames right now, or my raid UI, without the little ruined battle group here, and I have my cooldown tracker on the left side. So this is what I use. So my eyes are generally directed around my raid frames right around here, okay, which is also pretty close to my feet. And I have most of my screen here clear, so I can see any obstacles, I can see what's going on. As well, the main abilities that I have on cooldown, or my main healing spells, I mean, they're bound to mouse over macros, but I have them right here, so they're prominent. They're in my peripheral vision. I know if I'm healing, you know, I'm healing, my Holy Shock's on cooldown, I can see that it's still dark. You know, I can see that it's still dark right here. Not to use it, I would spam my other buttons. Right, you want them, I mean, I don't even need Holy Shock here, but let's say my Avenging Wrath's on cooldown, or my Guardian, or my other stuff, right? All this stuff's on cooldown. How do I know? Well, I have it really close. I don't need it, you know, off in some corner right here. I'm not going to be healing, and then direct my eyes all the way to this corner right here to see if my Avenging Wrath is off cooldown. Yes, weak auras do the same sort of thing if you guys want to use weak auras. And I used to have a UI that would use weak auras for cooldowns and cooldown tracking. But put your cooldowns in a prominent place where you can potentially see them. Or make a weak aura for them. You know, that works too. Both of those things are just great. So, things that I don't use too often, well, you know, I have my little mouse over macroed gems here. People ask, you know, what are these gems? Well, they're raid markers. So, everybody run to blue. Now run to green, purple, you know, whatever. So if I'm setting things up, yeah, I could, you know, there are key buttons or whatever. I did this for two reasons. Number one, to fill up the buttons in my LVY here, because I'm a little OCD with those things. And number two, they're useful. Useful for things like Malcroc. So let's say, let's clear these. People asking for Ashbringer's busy streaming. So, let's say Malcroc is right here. Okay, right on that blue marker. And let's say the Arcing Smash is right over here. Okay, I'm standing right here. Well, I want to move away from it. And I know that for the Breath of Yashar, for Malcroc, you know, that big thing that kills people, it'll hit on this marker. So I continue my rotation. The next one, you know, spawns over here, and the third one spawns over there, for example. I know not to stand in these locations. So these little gems are great. And because I don't use them too often, I mean, I can either hide them, and I can hide them like this. Where is it? Is this one? Yeah. So I can hide it. Still works though, right? Totally cool. I now have more space, more real estate on my UI. Let me put this back on. There. I mean, a lot of things I don't use Restorative Ambers anymore. I use those for challenge modes. This is a macro I don't use anymore. This one I do use. This is my friends clearing macro. So things that I don't use too often, I'm going to put off to the side somewhere where I don't need to see them. And things that I use a little bit more often, I mean, here I track my cooldowns as well. Because I don't look at my Hand of Sack cooldowns all the time, I'll put it somewhere else. So I'm going to give a Hand of Sack to Zeos again, or a Salvation. Okay, now I'm running Clemency, so I have two of them. It shows you there are 2-minute cooldowns, but I don't look at them all the time. The alternative is I could use my Hermes, and I'll enable Hermes for you guys. Hermes is fantastic. Let me reload it. Hermes shows whatever raid cooldowns or personal cooldowns I want. It's great. I love Hermes. That or Bloodlegion cooldown are the alternatives here. There we go. So it shows Devotion Aura from Zeos Knight. You know, Zeos, when you get a chance, please use your Devotion Aura so we can see it on cooldown. Actually, here, use Devo Aura, please. So you'll see it go on cooldown here in a sec once he uses it. Maybe you just want to sleep. No, shut up, Ariana Ashbringer. There we go. So there's his devotion aura. Now he has 3 minutes left on it. It'll keep ticking up until it's clear again. Now Hermes is great because it allows, whatever spells I want. If I want to track, let's say I want to track Hand of Sacrifices or his Hand of Sacs. So let's say I'm a tank. I need to know when his Hand of Sacrifice is available. So I'm taking lots of damage. I'm Towley. I'm Towley. I'm tanking Herpadur. And I say, Zeus, give me Hand of Sacrifice. Because I looked over here, and I want to take some big damage from the boss. Hand of Sac, please. And he's going to give me Hand of Sac in a sec. Tanking. Here I am, tanking as a Holy Paladin. Maybe he's just AFK. So he'll give me Hand of Sacrifice. It'll go on cooldown. This is really good for tanks, too. So when your priest, your disc priest, when their pain suppression's on cooldown, life cocoons, there's the Hand of Sacrifice on me. See? Right here. And he used it. So it's another great add-on. I have it off to the left side because I don't need to see it all the time. I need to see what's around me and what's around my character. Okay. Thank you, Zeus. So let's go back to Ret for a sec here. Get out of combat. Okay. I'm sorry I'm not chatting with you guys too much. I just want to really go through these things, and I'll answer questions as I can. So back to Ret. Okay, let's go back to our information. So we're talking about Icy Veins and all this stuff that it gives us. Macros, add-ons. CLC Red is a great one from Dim Summit he suggested as well. You can also make Hermes show up when a spell is currently up before its duration expires. You can do all these kinds of things with Hermes. So, perfect. So that's add-ons. Smart, if you have all your healing binds set to Voodoo, how do you make them work in fights like Sulong or Dreamwalker? Good question. See, I had the exact same issue with Sulong and Dreamwalker. I had to make them mouse over macros. So what Sajin is asking is, right now, my left click is bound to Divine Light, or it is on my my Holy Paladin. So when I'm on my Holy spec, I left click Zeus, and it will cast Divine Light. If I right click, it'll cast Holy Light. But because it's bound to Voodoo, if I right click something else, it makes me attack, right? You need mouse over macros for that, and that's what I use here. So Flash of Light. So what I did for Sulong and Valvertia Dreamwalker is I made mouse over macros. So I would hover over their actual portraits. I would, put them on focus here. Here's a training dummy on focus. And I would Flash of Light them, or Divine Light them, or Holy Radiance them, or whatever. But that's how I did it. Okay. So let's go back to Icy Veins. That's most of the information covered here. Gearing up and what's best in slot. This is a little outdated too. But it does tell you a little bit of best in slot advice. Well, what's best in slot? How can I attain best in slot? Is this really relevant? Sort of. This tells you the better and better things. Let's say I need a new helmet. Well, what are the best helmets? From a 450 blue all the way to the apparent best in slot, helm right here. Same thing for a neck or shoulders here, right? What's better. But you do have to sort of use your brain because it does say the 4-piece bonus is fantastic. So you may have to break your 4-piece bonus and not use, all 572 heroic pieces that are offset. You do want your 4-piece bonus. But this gives you a breakdown of what's better in order, based on item level, based off all that kind of stuff, and where it's from. So, let's say, here's an example for me. I have Shackle of Eversparks. Let's look for a neck here. Let's look for a neck. I have Shackle of Eversparks. Right here. This one, right here. So I have the heroic one. This is exactly mine. Comes from Elder Asani and Terrace. All these things are better. So I could do some PvP for a new neck. I could do heroic Timeless Isle thing, the cache. Juggernaut, I could do normals, I could do Raid Finder, I could do flex raids, I could do normal raids, heroics, all those things. Those are all potential upgrades, and this is where they come from. Summon Throne of Thunder, Tordos here drops a heroic Warforged neck that's a lot better from a previous tier. So this is, where I would get upgrades for my potential Red Paladin. Okay, good. So that's that. Now, let's go a little bit more in depth to Red Paladin. Let's say I'm a Red Paladin and I'm not sure, where to go with more information. There is the... One sec. The Paladin Forum on MMO Champion. MMO Champion is a great resource. It's just a friggin' fantastic resource for all classes. This one has Holy Prot, Ret Guides. There's a lot of websites like this, like Sacred Duty. Sort of Elitist Jerks used to be a good website before it was invaded by idiots. And you can talk with other top paladins, see what they're doing, but it's always about asking questions. Always ask questions. So here is a Ret Paladin thread that says, fix my DPS. I'm a Ret Paladin, my DPS sucks, why? And here, everybody's really helpful. Sort of like our stream chat, everybody's super helpful, and they want you, to improve. So, what it's for, there's no... You want some expert opinions from people. This is all paladins talking. This is your colleagues. People that are better than you, and that's okay, because you need to improve somehow. So talk to your colleagues and see what they say for you to improve. I would talk to somebody like Blue Talk, or Schaumburg, or Athor, or Zeos, good Ret Paladins, to see what I'm doing wrong. There's a couple of guides here as well. Let's look at the Ret Paladin guide right here. This is a great guide that goes through talents and all the information that we sort of looked at on both Noxic and Icy Veins. But these guys are usually good mathematicians or top paladins or good theory crafters. Now, we talked a little bit earlier about why you used Templar's Verdict at 5 Holy Power. Well, the answer is right here. You can't really see it. Why do you want me to go to 5 Holy Power? Why not use that 3? That was a question I had when I was learning Red. It's more beneficial to use Templar's Verdict at 5 Holy Power over 3, situationally, so most of the time, because you want to keep your Holy Power generators on cooldown. This will maximize your Holy Power gains as well as your DPS. The times you'll want to use Templar's Verdict at 3 or 4 Holy Power are when your Holy Power generators are on cooldown and you have a free global cooldown to use it. The point is just to not sit there. So the point is not to just sort of sit there doing nothing, right? One sec there. You don't want to sit there doing nothing. Right now I'm sitting doing nothing. So let's go to 5 Holy Power. There. There's a Crusader Strike, Judgment, Exorcism, Crusader Strike, Judgment. Okay, I'm at 4 right now. I can't use Exorcism, so I would use my Templar's Verdict at 4 now. Then I'll go Crusader Strike, Judgment, Exorcism again. Following my priority system. Now I can only use that at 3 because my other thing is not off cooldown. But I am at 3 Holy Power, so I'll use my Templar's Verdict. So it depends on the situation, like they say here. So these kind of threads and forums are great for just talking about it. Just ask questions. There are no dumb questions. Okay, just dumb people. But you guys are not dumb people because you obviously have the incentive to, and the initiative to look at this kind of stuff. Coach's Corner, you ask questions to me, to other guys. These guys are obviously better paladins than I am. Ask them, ask them on their stuff here. Here's this is the other proper. There's 102 pages of Ret Paladin theory crafting. A crap ton. So they talk about different trinkets. There's a lot of reading to do, but that's what you have to do. You guys have the initiative. Do it. Do the reading. Ask questions. At the very least, go through 200 pages. Shit. God damn. How many pages do they have here? 329 pages of stuff. And they still constantly talk about that kind of stuff. A lot of it's, a little bit more advanced theory crafting, but even very basic stuff or very intermediate stuff, if you're not sure, why is my DPS so low? Well, these guys ask you, make sure you've covered the other threads, make sure you know that information, link your armory, your World of Logs, so you need to know how to use World of Logs and log your stuff. Fights you're struggling to perform on, your spec and glyphs, so give them information and they will help you out. Think of this as like a Ret Paladin Sparty version. If you're having your headache, then don't do it. You don't have to. No one is gonna, bitch at you for not doing full theory crafting unless you're in a heroic progression guild. So MMO Champion, those kind of websites are great. Well, what if I'm a priest? What if I'm a stupid life grouping priest? I don't know what to do as a priest, right? Because I've got Icy Veins, I've got MMO Champion, Nox, please don't use it, like we said earlier. Here is a great priest website, howtopriest.com. It's awesome. Disc Priest, Holy Priest, Shadow Priest, all right here. There are streams, there's add-ons, there's blogs, there's lots of lots of priests talking. I mean, go to the information here, you know. Talk to whatever. You just have to look and take the time to really explore. Explore and research. That's how you improve. Okay, that's definitely how you get better. And there's Paladin websites like that. There's Sacred Duty. There's Rogue stuff and Boomkin stuff and Feral stuff. It's all out there. So, research it. Okay. So we're going to work at keybinds in a sec here. And what are effective keybinds? Okay, so what are effective keybinds? Well, we sort of talked about it a little bit earlier about what my rotation should be. Let's go back to rotation here for a sec. Retribution, rotation. So my priority system. Now, let me just grab some water or something. Water glass go. I had it here somewhere. Give me one sec. Jorhal, I don't know any Mistweaver Monk websites. You know why? Because I don't interact with Mistweavers. That's why. Give me a sec, guys. I will answer everybody's questions, or try to answer everybody's questions. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you, please. Thanks a lot. I've been way too much. Yeah, there's some really good priests there, like Loria says. You know, that's where Driaz goes to get information. I'm sure that's where Loria goes. Or she goes to, I don't know where. howtobeatrollingpriest.com. Okay. So, we're going to talk about keybinds in a sec here. Let me turn this down a little bit. Just keep it as is. Whatever, that's fine. So, keybinds are important for everything. Whether you're PvPing or raiding or pet battling, they are important. To be an effective Pokemon master, you must have, or you should have good keybinds. To be a good raider, great keybinds. We recently have a thread on our own guild forums, you know, what cooldowns and what keybinds people are using. Yeah, if any of you might have a website for good Mistweavers, I would probably go to him. Now, so let's look at keybinds. I talked about my Holy Paladin UI a little bit earlier. Let me see. So LVY has a thing that allows me to have different profiles. So look at my red profile spec. Or whatever. Enable do profile. Okay, let me switch this up. Disable. Go to party here. Give me one sec, guys. I'm going to try to make sure this dual profile thing works. I couldn't get it to work earlier, but Marksman gave me some suggestions to make it fixed. Because I don't want to ruin my my other profile. Actually, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it totally doesn't matter.
Ow!
Stop hurting yourself.
Got my bone on my foot.
You're a friggin' klutz. Sclerosa. Okay. Let's go back to Red for a sec here. Is the phone okay? Is your foot okay? She's glaring at me now. Okay. So, we're going to make a UI for my Red Paladin here. Clear focus. There. So, I want abilities that are, you know, pretty common for me. Let me load up my stuff here. We're going to be... We'll do a profile. I don't care. We're going to be on Red Sparty, my profile. There. This is my Red Sparty. I guess it does work. Perfect. It does work. Hey there, Claytham. Hello, guys. So,